Tonight on Ctv3 News, killer bees attack again, this time in the village of Palmar. An elderly woman is stung more than 100 times. Tropical storm Alberto becomes the first named storm of the 2024 hurricane season. Residents of the north are advised to prepare for heavy torrential rains. And we'll tell you how prepared Nemo is in case of a hurricane. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, June 19th, 2024.
El siguiente es un comunicado de St. Francis Xavier Credit Union Limited. Reunión especial. Comunicado a los miembros. Estimados miembros, en conformidad con la sección 61.8 de la Ley de Uniones de Crédito, el registrador de uniones de crédito ha otorgado aprobación al administrador para que se lleve a cabo una reunión especial. Dicha reunión se llevará a cabo el domingo 16 de junio del 2024 a las 10 de la mañana en el auditorio Hugo J. González en el Centro Escolar México Junior College, aldea de San Román en el distrito de Corozal. Todos los miembros están invitados a asistir a la reunión especial, ya que el administrador proporcionará una actualización sobre los asuntos de la unión de crédito. Se requiere que los miembros presenten sus libretas y una identificación válida para registrarse. Los arreglos de transporte se anunciarán en una fecha posterior. Mensaje del administrador St. Francis Xavier Credit Union Limited.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Face FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. An elderly woman is tonight hospitalized at the Northern Regional Hospital after she was attacked by Africanized bees earlier this afternoon in her home in the community of San Jose Palmar here in the Orange Walk district. The incident happened shortly before 2 this afternoon while an elderly couple, along with another member of their family, were inside their home on Balan Street in San Jose Palmar. The elderly woman received the brunt of the attack as she was stung over 100 times. Neighbors intervened and transported her to the local health center in their community, after which she was transported via ambulance to the NRH. A second person also received injuries but was treated and released. Following the attack, personnel from the Ministry of Agriculture were called out to the scene of the incident to neutralize the hive, which was located about 20 feet above ground on the branch of a mango tree. After a little over an hour of working, the hive was successfully destroyed by the ministry. Extension Officer Densford Mangar, who is attached to the Yoke Creek Agriculture Station, told us a little more about the incident and how they managed to get the situation under control.
The resident called the office. The number is 303-4264. Some of them have a DSC number, which is 614-3200. That's Mr. Sergio Hernandez. These are DSC. When things like this happen, an emergency with bees around, stinging people, he will dispatch us very quickly. We'll try to reach here very quickly. But as what happened today is that we came here, but the owner is not here because they have been stung. So it is the responsibility of the community to try to get the job done, and which the neighbors did that. They helped us. The bees was located in a tree about 20 feet high. The mango tree, the limb is rotten. So we won't risk putting a ladder there now. What we do, we get a long pole from the neighbor, we make a torch and get a small ladder and we burn it down. Because there are different scenarios in dealing with bees, no? So unfortunately, today the scenario is like that. As you can imagine, these suits are hot, and this is not a one-man job, no, it's a team job, and we work as a team at the Ministry of Agriculture.
For any resident who comes across a hive of these Africanized bees in either yard or in order Africanized bees in either yard or any public place, Mangar says the best option is to call the ministry, who is equipped to respond to these situations.
I advise anybody they see a swarm of bees, don't disturb the bees. The bees is not killer bees as how they say. The bees does not, it kills, but it doesn't, that's not its job. It's like anybody, the bees will defend its territory and its queen, just like anybody else, right? When you disturb these animals, they will react very violently with dogs, people, anybody, right? However, we notice that residents have bees at their home for a very long time. Like this one is not just right now, this one is for a little while now, because it has the combs and everything. People like to have see the bees at their residence, but don't report it on time. And when things like this happen, they report it to us, and we cannot do no miracle. Who to get stung will get stung, and we can't help them.
So this one's successfully neutralized?
This is successfully neutralized, yes, ma'am.
So the area is...
Residents are also advised to keep their yards clean and fruit trees trimmed to avoid being surprised by these bees.
And the other thing, you have a lot of fruit trees, mangoes and so on. The mangoes dropping, bees get attracted to nectar, and that's what they do, no? So when there's a lot of mango under your tree, it's more likely bees can come there, or any kind of fruits or any flowering and so on, no? So people sometimes have to clean up the mangoes under their tree, get rid of it quickly, because bees look for nectar, so they be attracted to that. Anything sweet, right?
At this time, we understand that the elderly woman remains hospitalized in a critical but stable condition. Tropical storm Alberto formed on Wednesday in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, marking the first named storm of what is expected to be an extremely active hurricane season. According to the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Alberto was positioned 185 miles east of Tampico, Mexico, and 295 miles south-southeast of Brownsville, Texas, with top sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. A tropical storm has sustained winds between 39 and 73 miles per hour. Beyond that range, it becomes a hurricane. The storm was moving west at 9 miles per hour. That aside, here in the north, residents are being advised to prepare for heavy torrential rains in the coming 24 hours as an area of low pressure continues over the country at this time. At this time, the National Meteorological Service of Belize has issued an excessive rainfall watch for the north and central parts of the country.
We are or have been under a broad area of low pressure, which is typically referred to at this time of the year as the Central American Gyre. That's a circulation covering northern Central America, Yucatan, into the southern Gulf of Mexico, and it creates a lot of moisture and instability over the area. From that system, we have already had one tropical storm forming, which is Tropical Storm Alberto, the first named storm of the season. That storm formed in the Gulf of Mexico and is moving away from Belize. It is no direct threat to the country. It is forecast to make landfall over Mexico sometime late tonight into early tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. However, the broad area of low pressure remains over us. And coupled with that, we will have an area of low pressure at the higher levels, which is currently over the Bahamas area, extending across into eastern Cuba. That system is moving rapidly to the west-southwest. And by tomorrow around midday, we will be under what we call the divergent side of that system. Basically, it's the side where you have a lot of air pumping up into the atmosphere, creating a lot of thunderstorm activity. Perfect environment coupled with the moisture and already the low level trough that we are experiencing to produce significant rainfall. The forecast is showing that rains will start later, around after midnight into early morning, and gradually increase throughout the day tomorrow. Some of the models are showing totals of up to 4 to 6 inches with isolated maximum of 10 inches within a 12 to 24-hour period. That's a significant amount of rainfall. We cannot specify exactly over which city or town will get the most rainfall. However, indications are that the central and northern parts of the country will be the most affected. So all municipalities from, let's say, Dangriga northward, including the inland areas, Belmopan, San Ignacio, Belize City, San Pedro, Corozal, Orange Walk, and the villages in between should be on alert for heavy rainfall and the possibility of flooding as we move into tomorrow.
With excessive rains over the 12 to 24 hours, residents are also advised to look out for floodings which may occur at any time.
We have issued an excessive rainfall watch due to the expected rainfall, and also strong thunderstorm watch because this will be accompanied by a strong thunderstorm, very strong gusty winds. We are looking at winds of up to 20 to 30 knots tomorrow, especially during the afternoon into evening hours along coastal and offshore areas. That will result in very, very rough and hazardous sea conditions. So, of course, we are going to be issuing a small craft warning, advising mariners to be extremely careful or to remain in safe harbor during that time. So, again, we advise residents to pay keen attention and to monitor the weather very carefully.
After what was experienced here in the Orange Walk district over the weekend, particularly in the community of August Pine Ridge, where homes were flooded due to heavy rains, the Ministry of National Disaster Risk Management says it is preparing in the case of any flooding in the coming days.
We have discussed and had several meetings, had many meetings as it relates to that. The fire, and after the fire, how we do the recovery, and also including the preparations in the event of floods, we will have to redeploy. So all of this has been planned out. Of course, we're exhausted, but we are prepared. So,
does Mexico's situation pose a concern?
Well, it's the entire region. We're looking at the floods and everything. You saw what happened in the news. We'll site up north, especially in the village of August Pine Ridge, up north in the western part of the Orange Walk district. No? But you know, Nemo is far more way ahead where we are than we were 10, 15 years ago. And I want to see that positive way. And the engagement that we have as a minister, and our CEO, the entire department, the way how disaster risk management is inherently linked and aligned up with the Ministry of Blue Economy, it's all in one. So it's pretty much, we're excited in terms, and we're inspired, we're motivated, and today this information that happens today is part of putting everything together.
There is great divide in the village of Indian Creek down south. It all has to do with the community of about 250 residents having taken sides on the issue of the replacement of the Alcalde and the Deputy Alcalde by the Attorney General. While some have sided with the Maya Leaders Alliance and Toledo Alcaldes Association, who are challenging the decision in court, the others are saying the MLA and TAA does not truly represent the community and must recuse themselves from the situation. But the real issue, it seems, is how to define the legal way on how Mayan communities are governed. Today, Attorney General Anthony Sylvester placed the facts into perspective.
So there's currently before the High Court this matter relating to the issue of how or what ought properly to be the processes to engage for the appointment of an alcalde. Just for the public's information, an alcalde is a judicial officer. I think Council Marshall had explained that when he gave an interview last week. So under the current Inferior Courts Act, an alcalde is a person who's appointed to hear and determine civil and criminal matters. In the case of civil matters, where the value in terms of the damages which are being sought or the is not greater than $100, and in the case of criminal matters, it involves matters such as disorderly conduct, breach of peace, common assault. So this is a judicial officer, and the processes for appointment of that that individual is under review in the High Court. I don't wish to to preempt what will happen in the High Court. And so suffice it to say that it is a fact indeed that there has been, going back to 2009, that there was discussion with respect to that. But as things stand, the matter is before the High Court. We will see how and what transpires in the court, and government will then decide on the best way forward to address, which is an obviously important issue for the government of Belize.
Coming up next, police officers take part in health and mental training workshop. Stay tuned.
The Orange Walk Clinical Lab Summer Promotion 2024 is here. Get your summer promotion on glucose, cholesterol, triglyceride, and hemoglobin for only $20. Also fantastic promotions on prostate PSA for only $50. We also have other packages on promotion. We also provide DNA paternity testing. We take this opportunity to inform the general public in the Orange Walk District that we are an approved NHI lab service provider. So for all your NHI lab tests, just visit your NHI medical provider and visit us at the Orange Walk Clinical Laboratory. We take care of all your NHI lab tests. Results are provided the same day. Come visit us on number 20 San Antonio Road, Orange Walk Town. Call for details at 322-0423 or 600-2727. Call 630-1479. Remember, don't wait for symptoms. Check your health today. The Orange Walk Clinical Laboratory.
Sharon Hall is seeking the public's assistance in locating her 25-year-old daughter, Ashley Giselle Hall, who was last seen on Monday, June 17th in Corozal. Despite the fact that the 25-year-old has contacted her family to indicate she is safe and will now live out of the Corozal district, the family is still interested in knowing her whereabouts, which she has concealed. According to Sharon, Ashley reportedly visited the bus terminal and got on a bus around 10:30 a.m. en route to Ladyville. Sharon says that the police contacted the people in Ladyville where she was believed to have been going. However, she never arrived. Over Facebook, Sharon wrote, "Please, if anyone has seen her or knows anything about her, please call the nearest police station or my numbers." Ashley has a 1-year-old son who keeps asking for his mom. Anyone with information on Ashley's whereabouts is urged to call the nearest police station or her mom at 623-4680, 624-3624, or 631-5915. Through the National Anti-Laundering Committee, whose biggest support is the U.S. Embassy's International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs Unit and the University of Belize, Belize has gradually been making efforts in combating transnational criminal organizations by strengthening its compliance and investigation on anti-money laundering front. 2 days ago, the entities held the second conference on anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism. While legislation has been passed in the House of Representatives to allow law enforcement officers to crack down on money laundering activities, today the Attorney General spoke largely about what the Persenio administration is doing to reach global standards that will satisfy policies of anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism.
A lot of the legislation that were drafted and enacted last year, they were done pursuant to recommendations made by the Financial Action Task Force. So that's a body which seeks to regulate globally the various players within the financial system, global system. And so the various legislations that were enacted would include, for instance, a new MPO bill where there previously registration of non-government organization was done under that bill. Now it's done under the non-profit organization bill. There's a new Companies Act, there's a new Extradition Act, there's a new Civil and Asset Recovery Act. All of those are legislations which have been enacted to put in place a better framework for the regulating of business enterprises and to ensure that the players who are involved in the necessary commerce and necessary business activity that they operate above board. And the conference, which started on Monday and continues into today, seeks to facilitate and build capacity to the various stakeholders, which includes government. You may have seen at the conference you have in-person government officers such as custom officers, immigration officers, tax officers, and as well various persons from the business community, from the banking sector. And so it is a second annual conference, and the specific purpose, of course, is to ensure and build capacity as it relates to better regulating and tracking and detecting and investigating and possible prosecution of money laundering and to counter terrorism.
The fact is that the issue of money laundering and financing of terrorism is in itself complex. So how is the problem addressed inside out in an advanced technological world? Sylvester says, as difficult as it may sound, Belize is doing its part.
There is always the need to ensure that there's proper auditing and to filter out those bad actors who may be within the institutions. Of course, human ingenuity always is perhaps surpasses the most rigid and the most skilled system that may be put in place. But suffice it to say that the various institutions, government departments, from customs, immigration to FIU.
The Supreme Court of Belize, now renamed the High Court of Belize, currently has 8 judges, and that includes the Chief Justice. But with a growing volume of cases to resolve, there is the complaint that additional judges need to be recruited to close gap of backlog cases. Today, the Attorney General told the media moves are being made to solve that issue.
There was a new cohort of High Court judges, and it's unprecedented. I think there are about 12 or so High Court judges. We never had that many High Court judges before, and so we are, I think we can say, I mean, when you watch the news on a nightly basis, you see there are reports of cases being heard, being determined, with a flurry of cases being disposed of. There is in train a plan to as well augment and the magistracy. So similar to the approach that has been taken by with respect to the senior courts, we have planned in train a legislation which seeks to have the magistracy be operate in a more efficient manner, and so we should see before the end of this year a new magistrates court bill. As things currently stand, there is a piece of legislation known as the Inferior Courts Act and the District Courts Act and the Summary Jurisdiction Procedure Act. Those various pieces of legislation deals with the procedure, as we say, to how magistrates court proceedings are to be undertaken. So there is a move to have those various pieces of legislation be repealed. You have one comprehensive omnibus legislation, and the purpose of that is twofold. Firstly, for the public purposes. You see, in contemporary times, we try to allow for the ordinary member of the public to be able to not only hear about the law, but they themselves to be able to have access to what the law is. We have on the Attorney General's website a search engine, so you could actually search any piece of law, and you yourself, you could acquaint yourself with the law, and you'll be able to know how the various processes are to be engaged. So that aspect and that reform, as it were, of the magistracy is something that is being undertaken, and certainly, as I indicated, we hope to have that bill be enacted before the end of this year. No?
And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
Today, 18 officers attached to the Orange Walk Police Formation completed a 3-month training program entitled Defend Your Strength, Choose Resilience Over Drugs, which was organized by the National Drug Abuse Control Council in partnership with a host of other stakeholders, including the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Football Association, and BFLA. The program, which is the first of its kind, was designed to equip law enforcement officers with the knowledge about health and well-being, especially considering the field of work they are engaged in.
The the program is named Defend Your Strength, Choosing Resilience Over Drugs. So it's basically, we had a collaboration with stakeholders, BFLA, nutrition, mental health, drug addiction, that NDAC did the section of drug addiction, HIV, STI, STDs, and sports, the physical aspect with the FFB. The program was focused direct to the well-being of the police department. We had the participation of 18 police officers, and they received all these trainings to help them build this resilience and also help themselves mentally and physically so that they could carry on their job. The duration of the program is that it started from April. We met every Wednesdays, and last week Wednesday was the last day of the session, and every day we meet, we have a different instructor. Today, as you notice, is the closing, and the take that we want them to take is that we want them to learn the skills and practice it on their daily life, at their jobs, at their home, and if they could render aid to anybody else, they share the knowledge.
The program, according to District Coordinator for NDAC in Orange Walk, Alfred Anderson, included key information about topics like drug addiction, sexually transmitted disease, nutrition, HIV, mental health, and physical activity.
Putting the stakeholders together is that you have different type of knowledge, right? Everybody brings their expertise in their level, and we were specifically focusing on the well-being of the police. And when it comes to drugs, there's a lot that evolves around drugs. We need to take care of our body, our health, our pressure, our mental, and physical. The duration of the program is that it started from April. We met every Wednesdays, And last week, Wednesday, was the last day of the session. And every day we meet, we have a different instructor. Today, as you notice, is the closing, and the take that we want them to take is that we want them to learn the skills and practice it on their daily life, at their jobs, at their home, and if they could render aid to anybody else, they share the knowledge.
The hope is to engage law enforcement officers across the country in similar programs that promote overall health. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions appears on behalf of the state in criminal and quasi-criminal matters in all the courts of Belize. The office is responsible for advising the police department and other institutions with powers of investigation and arrest on ongoing investigations. So, in a nutshell, it is considered the most important legal office for the country of Belize. The problem is, though, there is not enough personnel to get the job done in a timely manner. Now that has caused an effect, and though not confirmed, reports suggest that GOB may be looking at creating new positions to alleviate the pressure. The Attorney General was drilled on the matter today.
I haven't heard any specific rumblings that relates to that, but what I will say is that so there has been the creation of the additional post of Deputy and Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions. Now, government, when there's how it works is that there will be a request from a particular department for the creation of certain posts. The Attorney General has been supported. That matter is sent to Finance and Public Service, or in this case, the Judicial Service Commission. And once approval for the creation of the post has been obtained, then that matter obviously will go to the position being filled. Now, government then at that point is not involved in the selection process. So constitutionally, there is a body known as the Public Service Commission, or the Judicial and Legal Services Commission in this particular instance, which is responsible for the terms and conditions of judicial and legal officers, and that includes as well the appointment of such persons. So those are matters which fall directly within the purview of that body. Indeed, appreciate, of course, as is to be expected, if someone were to apply for a position, then that application should be received and should go to the appropriate processes. That is all I can say with respect to that, as it relates to the process and how things work or ought to work. No.
But the legal process that needs to be followed is one that others inside the DPP's office are not happy about. In fact, one of the tensions is that of salaries. A group of employees at the DPP's office already thinking of strike if need be. What happens next if that occurs? The AG responds.
The Crowns will know that it is unlawful for them to engage in strike action, and I think that, I mean, as attorneys and being subjected to the Judicial Legal Services regulation, that goes without saying. That is quite apparent. But there are processes and there are ways in which persons could, I suppose, if someone applied for a position, I think a simple thing that can be done is to simply just to write to ask for an update. So there are mechanisms and ways in which persons could I suppose seek some guidance or clarity from that particular body. So I will leave it at that, to say that there are ways in which a person could legally seek redress.
And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, June 28th here on Ctv3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belize news or our YouTube channel at ctv3 news bz. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.